Hi, hello everyone. How are you, friends? Welcome to the Software Services channel. Let us discuss something useful today. Yeah, we are in the course of Basics of Cloud Computing. So we already gone through these three topics in our earlier classes, and advantages also we discussed. In this class, we will discuss the topic of disadvantages of cloud computing, friends. So let us start the topic. So if anybody comes directly watching this video, then you can go and refer to the sorry, earlier videos to get a good grasp. Uh, yeah. So all these things we discussed earlier, and now let us concentrate on disadvantages of cloud computing, friends. Yeah. So cloud computing is offering many advantages for all the companies and industries out there to adapt from their on-prem and anything in the world. So it has both sides. So there is a advantages as one side and the disadvantages on the other side. So similarly, cloud computing also will have its own advantages and it is also having its own disadvantages. What considering? It depends upon the use case of the organization which is desiring to adapt the cloud. Okay. So now, so let us discuss some of the disadvantages of cloud computing, friends. So when security is the important parameter to consider for an organization. So yeah, all organizations is having data, right? So how an organization uh, data is there, how much data is there for the company, and how sensitive the data for that company. For example, say banking is there. So banking data is very confidential and a very highly sensitive data, in which banks doesn't want to put their data to in the third party hands. Third party in the sense cloud service provider, any cloud it may be. So what they will do is they will take an alternate approach of keeping the all the sensitive data in their own data centers, and non-sensitive data and the applications they can deploy by adapting some cloud service provider, Google Cloud or AWS or Azure, any cloud they like. Okay, so that is called an hybrid approach. Some part of their application will work on the public cloud in the sense AWS or Azure or Google Cloud, GCP, and some part of their application will work from their on-premises data centers. So which factor decides that is in the sense the data and the data sensitivity, confidentiality. Okay. Since if that is the case, then cloud computing companies will not be interested. And so then when it comes to downtime and connectivity issues, since cloud computing is internet based, so if there is an internet outage in your area, you cannot log into your CSP to do your work, right? Of course, there is no downtime for internet. It is a remote case. In case of cyclones or in case of earthquakes, that is the chance. And when it comes to customization, so customization in the sense, if we have our own data center, we are the boss. We are the king of our own data center. We can do anything we like. So we can customize to any level. Okay, from bottom to top. Okay, but being a cloud service providers will have their own limitations when it comes to customization. And this customization when we will discuss when we are discussing the service models, like infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service models. Okay, different levels of customizations are there. but it is not full. Okay, so that is about the customization. That customization in the sense changing of the infrastructure capacities, and so whatever we need, we like, we can implement that kind of control, right? And cost over time. So when it comes to cost, right? It is like so we can take for example, say car as an example. Okay. So I will discuss this car example when we are going to discuss about service models. As I said, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and the software as a service. But here, as a touch base, if we want to know this cost aspect of cloud, for example, I want to go to Hyderabad, you know. Uh, so what I have two options. I can purchase a car, and I can go by my own driving, self driving, right? And there is another option for me to rent the car. Okay, and sit in the seat, in the back seat. So driver will be there, car will be provided by the other third party, everything will be provided. So here car in the sense you can think like it's an infrastructure which is taking me, which is satisfying my requirement. So what is my requirement? I need to go to from place A to place B. Okay, so two options is, one thing is I can purchase my car by investing 20 lakhs, and I can go use that car with my own driving, and I can go anywhere I want. But so when we explore the another option, it is what? So renting the car. So I can pay some 1,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees as rent for my trip. All the car, driver, everything will be provided by a car supplier company. So, so which is costly, and which is beneficial? So you can think of. So both are having its own advantages and disadvantages. Okay, it is when it comes to uh, I need to quickly do the things. Okay, then probably renting the car is making sense. Okay, I'll pay 2,000, so job done. Okay, but when we go, will go for purchasing a new car altogether. So it depends upon the requirement of the person. Okay, so long term cost in the sense, so if you are going to use the car for very 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 long term. Okay, so then continuingly paying the rent every day, go and from point A to point B and point B to point A. All these things will cost more in the long run, right? So for that, we can purchase the car by our own. For example, say 10 years you need to go daily. Then paying the rent and doing the things is not recommended. Uh, okay, so in the long term aspect, the cost of the cloud is will cost more when compared to on prem. But on prem is having its own disadvantages on the other side. So there is a trade off here. So if you want to stick to if you want to take all those risks of scalability, availability, global reach, all these things, yeah, we can manage our own data center, but we cannot do all those things by our own. That's why we can pay the cost by by which our application will stands available all the time, global reach, anywhere, anytime. So companies are prepared for that. But so when we look up and single this one, it may appear as a disadvantage, right? Okay, so then data transfer costs. So when it comes to data transfer, So lots of data is the companies can move outside and so to and from outside to the cloud, inside to the cloud. Okay, data transfer, uploading, downloading, all these things. So that data transfer will cost. That will take cost actually, but in our own data centers there is no cost, right? So cloud service providers will impose cost on these data transfers also, and the performance variability in the sense. Uh, Generally, the cloud service provider offers the state-of-art infrastructure in their data centers. So whatever performance tuning they tuned, we have to use that. So when we have the performance issues regarding the servers which we are using, for example, I am taking CPUs or RAM, which I am complaining that it is slow. Then we have to raise the ticket, and the concern team will explore the problem and they will correct it. But the performance is decided by the cloud service provider. Okay, and also the compliance and legal concerns. It's a big thing, friends, to discuss compliance and legal concerns because cloud is a uh, global thing, because it is operating in many countries, many regions, many zones across the globe. Different countries is having different rules and regulations of processing the data, the applications. For example, say if you are in Europe, the data in the Europe needs to be there, and it cannot go outside. Something like the data residency here, the 10th point, it will tell the location of data. All these rules and regulations are there when it comes to deploying our application and data to the cloud of different regions. India is having its own rules and regulations. Europe is having its own. China is having its own. US is having its own. We have to follow these compliances. And also the vendor lock-in. Vendor lock-in in the sense, if an organization or company wants to run their applications on top of cloud, so they will go and select the service providers. So there are famous three service providers are there in the market. One is GCP, and there is AWS, and the other is Microsoft Azure. So if the provider, I mean, if the company likes to go with the AWS, and you know and deploy all their IT workloads into the AWS, then whatever AWS increase the costs or decrease the costs, or even though after 2 years if they don't like the AWS, they need to stay, because already they uh, deployed, invested so much of energy, time, money into that, replacing their own data centers and migrating their applications to the cloud. For example, these vendor lock-in applies to everyone, that may be GCP or AWS or Azure. Okay, so once we deployed our applications, it is very uh, hard to again shift our cloud service provider to some A to B. Okay, and so there is an offline access, in the sense wherever there is an internet unavailability, then we cannot use these cloud applications. In fact, anything we cannot do nowadays. And data residency, I already discussed about. It talks about which location the data is physically stored. It's in Europe or China or India or USA. So based on that, data legal rules will be applicable. Okay, so if the data is in Europe, you need to preserve the data for 3 to 4 years or 5 years, depending upon the law in that area. So having discussing all these things, there is a note that All these points will be specific needs of an organization deciding in deciding their deciding and designing their application. Okay, so there are a multitude of pros and cons, permutations and combinations. Depending upon the requirement of the organization, they can decide whether they will keep their application in their own data center, or they can deploy by adopting the cloud computing, right? So that's it, friends. So next class we will discuss next topic. Till then, bye bye. Yours Veera signing off. Thank you, friends.